Aloha. I'm going to be talking about some thoughts about peace in the Middle East. It feels urgent. Meanwhile, I'm giving conditional permission to share this. Copyright 2025 Benjamin Lipman. Conditional permission to copy, share, and distribute. Permission is conditionally given to distribute per share like license, e.g. with full attribution. This permission is conditional and subject to change. No permission is given to modify this content. Mahalo. I do not give permission to apply my content or likeness in any form to any application involving artificial intelligence. And then if you like what I'm doing, you're welcome to support me. Thank you. This is from my heart to whoever is out there. Aloha Ke Akua. Aloha Aina. Malama Pono. Amen. Okay, so what would that look like? Real peace in the Middle East. So we have three major cultural traditions. They all share the same core books, the first 5 books of the Torah, the Old Testament, and a lot of the Quran. Same. Now there's different arrangements, different translations. I have a copy of the Quran, and I know nothing. I'm just trying to learn, trying to listen. There's so much to know. Any one of those books itself is a vast ocean. They are books. They are from a long time ago. They're inspired by human beings that had obviously some divine inspiration, clearly, right? Otherwise, we wouldn't have these books today and people wouldn't be revering them the way they do. And we have those 3 huge, major traditions. And I don't have a copy of the Torah. And I'm probably not going to order one until Israel redeems herself. There was some condition, obviously, that created the uprising out of Gaza that didn't come from nowhere. Never mind what people say on the right wing, it's not true. Clearly. Now, there's a lot of history, there were wars, it's just a terrible situation over there, all this bloodshed, all this animosity. But the response, Biden said, we overreacted in 9/11, even though it was very terrible. Israel, don't go too far. Well, we have genocide. And now we have Netanyahu and our current man in charge of the United States, at least in name, officially, laying claim to Gaza, wanting to turn it into the Riviera, creating an enormous backlash, enraging the Muslim community, understandably. Just a land grab, basically, right? That would not produce peace. You'd have an eternal guerrilla war. That will not work. And it would be backed by the entire Muslim population of all the states. It would not work at all. No chance. So that's not a way to produce peace. However, there's a kernel there that's very interesting, because I have a similar thought. Basically, we need to stop the bloodshed and stop the violence and stop the oppression, stop the conditions that produce the violence. So basically, disarming that area, I think, is actually critical. So peace in the Middle East. Let's talk about Lebanon and Palestine. So it is the case that Israel has essentially defanged Hezbollah to some degree, and now we have the situation with Iran, and the right wing of Israel wants to go to war. They probably want to wipe Iran off the map or make sure they don't get the bomb. They probably already have something now, basic. No probably easy way to deliver it currently. And their air defenses don't compare to what Israel has, especially if the U.S. is there. It's a very frightening situation worldwide right now. We have the whole Putin MAGA alignment to the great concern of probably the majority of we'll say Americans, and certainly the Europeans. So it's a very precarious moment. But look, the topic today is some ideas. What would peace in the Middle East look like? What would get us there? So fundamentally, it has to be something that everyone can live with and feel safe, right? Because if everyone doesn't agree with it, we're not there. If everyone doesn't feel safe, we're not there. And then I think we have to talk about like near term, medium term, long term, something like that. There's negotiations right now between Hamas and Israel, which are moving along. That is happening. They're talking, they're exchanging bodies and prisoners and whatnot. That's good. So there's a tenuous ceasefire it is holding right now. So that's immediate. It's very, very good. However that came to be is excellent. A lot of work was done by the Biden administration to accomplish that. It needs to be acknowledged. All right, so something that everyone can live with and feel safe. Now, because Trump went in and basically made this outrageous proposal, and the right wing of Israel was totally enthusiastic, sort of a collaborative scheme, and the Muslim community at large has found that to be reprehensible, because that has happened. Now there's sort of a need to correct. So quite clearly, something that everyone can live with and feel safe from where we are right now would be a recognition, and that, even all the Arab countries were very clear that the national sovereignty of Palestine is fundamental, not negotiable. So there you are. The only way forward is a two-state solution with national sovereignty for the Palestinian people and the Lebanese people. Now, how do you do that so there isn't an existential threat for either? Let's just talk about Israel and Palestine right now. So there can't be an existential threat for either. So occupation by Israel won't work. Hamas being able to attack Israel or organize an attack as a proxy of Iran, or however that is. Again, I'm Malahini on everything, so I'm just letting the thoughts flow. That won't work either, right? Because Israel won't feel safe. Israel has to feel safe. Otherwise, Israel is going to be in a war situation, war readiness, whatever. So how do we get there? Well, here's my proposal. Make Gaza provisionally a weapons-free zone except for peacekeepers. In other words, Hamas has to disarm, but Hamas wins because there will be a two-state solution and there will be Palestine. So Hamas doesn't need arms anymore because they won. They got what they have been fighting for, which is a free Palestine. And so this is really key. They're warriors, they get recognized. Israel gets what it wants because the existential threat next door goes away. Okay? So Gaza provisionally a weapons-free zone except for peacekeepers who can't be Israeli or Hamas or bigoted people. It has to be people who are open-minded. The peacekeepers have to be neutral and loving. So my proposal is bring in 50% hero warriors for peace, the Sikh community, draw on the Sikh community of India, shine the Asmita of India, give India a chance to show what is possible. Now what's really interesting about that is we're asking not for Hindus. There's a problem with the Hindustan right now in India, but it kind of calls on what is great about India. India used to have and be a model for Muslim-Hindu peace. And a number of saints helped make that happen. I've been to some of their shrines. These are very high beings, very beautiful, very special. In fact, my guru lineage, that's in there too. So maybe that's why I sit like this here. I don't know. Okay, so 50% hero warriors for peace, Sikhs from India, and 50% hero warriors from the United States. Now these have to be beautiful, open-minded people. These might be LGBTQ people. These might be African American people. These might be Japanese or Hawaiians or white people who are not bigoted. It's very important. Now, people who might have subconscious bigotry in this situation, if they're serving next door to people, it's going to change them, right? It will be good for the US military to have this co-hero warrior peacekeeping role. And the importance of having USA there is that there's a special relationship between USA and Israel. So with 50% USA there, Israel will feel comfortable. With 50% not USA, not Israel, nobody from the Middle East, but not Christian, and peacekeeping, somewhat Muslim background, the Sikh people, but hero warriors, that will put the Muslim community at peace. So I actually think that might work. Then everyone can be comfortable, and the idea is there will not be a single bullet ever fired. And the only people with weapons are the hero warriors who will safeguard their weapons scrupulously. And obviously if it doesn't work, then it doesn't work. But I think this could be something that everyone would like to see. Peace in the Middle East. And that might apply, we might look at that into Lebanon. I'm just talking about Gaza right now. That's the emergency situation. So while the situation is stabilized on an intermediate level and rebuilding happens, it can look like that. Money for rebuilding, frankly, given that Israel just did this genocide, additional funds that were going to fund Israeli military, those funds, as far as I'm concerned, could be allocated for rebuilding. And that would become Palestinian property. Because I think our weapons were misused. A lot of people feel that way. What's done is done. There was a terrible massacre. It was awful. There were rapes and just terrible behavior. Done. We're on the other side. Both sides, terrible. Move forward. What else can we do? Let's have peace. So, yeah, women, ladies and gentlemen, peacekeeping. So then plan for a transition, maybe 5 years, a rebuilding period, and then we can look at rotations maybe from the UN in maybe after about 2 years. But it has to be long enough that things feel really stable and there can be conditions and so on. And yeah, we're going to need some major rebuilding. There will have to be schools and hospitals. Yeah, the illegal settlements, that has to stop. Basically, Israel, you have to shift out of the right wing and come to your glory, which is the beautiful people of Israel that the world fell in love with and protected after World War II. And that's going to take basically some reparations, some restoration of world community faith in you. This is a path forward. Now, there's a story, right, about the Exodus. And there's Exodus here, which is detail, which I hope to actually read in depth. The Quran has an overview. Now, this Quran that I have, I've discovered. It's interesting. It's an invented form. It's kind of a new form. I just discovered that this was printed in Assad's Syria. So it's a book. Take it with a grain of salt. There's some punctuation things that are scratching my head a little bit. So I have a little yellow flag on this book, but it's a holy book, so I'm going to treat it with enormous respect. And until I know more, I don't know. However, we have this old part of the book. So this is like a different section, which I just turned to. Found out that it's about the Exodus. These are verses of the book that make things clear. And this is like, finally we're into English, so again, it's so far away from the source. It may be thou fretest thy soul with grief that they do not become believers. If such were our will, and I'm curious what that means. I believe it's the angels, the archangels, because Gabriel was apparently the one who inspired Muhammad directly in one moment, and then that was a life-changing event, and then he wrote stuff, and he was a warrior that brought peace, famously, but he brought peace through fighting because it was necessary. So did Kamehameha here in Hawaii. If such were our will, we could send down to them from the sky a sign to which they would bend their necks in humility. But there comes not to them a newly revealed message from Allah, most gracious God. That's another word for God, right? But they turn away therefrom. In other words, they're given signs, but they're so in this horizontal, they don't believe it. They don't recognize it. They don't have the faculty. They don't have the cognitive capacity. They've never turned toward the divine. They just are incapable of recognizing it. They have indeed rejected the message, so they will know soon enough the truth of what they mocked at. Do they not look at the earth, how many noble things of all kinds we have produced therein? Verily, in this is a sign. The beauty, the magnificence of our world is a sign of divinity. The fact that there's a moon of improbable dimension that makes life possible. What is that? How is that? Like the humility in the presence of such incredible gifts and beauty and love and other people who are loving. Verily, this is a sign, but most of them do not believe. And verily, thy Lord is he, the exalted in might, most merciful. Behold, thy Lord, called Moses, go to the people of iniquity, the people of Pharaoh. Will they not fear God? He said, O my Lord, I do fear that they will charge me with false ood. My breast will be straitened, and my speech may not go smoothly. So send unto Aaron. And further, they have a charge of crime against me, and I fear they may slay me. Allah said, by no means. Proceed then, both of you, with our signs. We are with you, and we will listen to your call. So go forth, both of you, to Pharaoh, and say, We have been sent by the Lord and cherisher of the worlds. Send thou with us the children of Israel. Pharaoh said, Did we not cherish thee as a child among us? And didst thou not stay in our midst many years of thy life? And thou didst a deed of thine which thou knowest thou didst, and thou art an ungrateful wretch? Moses said, I did it then, when I was in error. So I fled from you all when I feared you, but my Lord has since invested me with judgment and wisdom and appointed me as one of the apostles. And this is the favor with which thou dost reproach me, that thou hast enslaved the children of Israel. So we almost have a metaphor now for capitalism and colonialism of the world. Pharaoh said, so you can take this as a metaphor now. Pharaoh said, and what is the Lord and cherisher of the worlds? Moses said, the Lord and cherisher of the heavens and the earth and all between, if you want to be quite sure. The Lord and cherisher of the heavens and the earth and all between, if you want to be sure. That which loves all of existence and all realms, vertical, horizontal. Moses said, there's a missing S there, your Lord and the Lord of your fathers from the beginning. Pharaoh said, truly your apostle who has been sent to you is a veritable madman. Moses said, Lord of the east and the west and all between, if you only had sense. Pharaoh said, if thou dost put forward any god other than me, I will certainly put thee in prison. Moses said, even if I showed you something clear and convincing? Pharaoh said, show it then, if thou tellest the truth. So Moses threw his rod, and behold, it was a serpent, plain for all to see. And he drew out his hand, and behold, it was white to all believers, to all beholders. Pharaoh said to the chiefs around him, this is indeed a sorcerer well versed. His plan is to get you out of your land by his sorcery. Then what is it ye counsel? They said, keep him and his brother in suspense for a while, and dispatch to the cities heralds to collect, and bring up to thee all our sorcerers well versed. So the sorcerers were got together for the appointment of a day well known, and the people were told, are ye now assembled? By the way, the Quran, Asia does this too. Just a different book. That we may follow the sorcerers in religion if they win. So the sorcerers arrived. They said to Pharaoh, of course, shall we have a suitable reward if we win? He said, yea, and more, for ye shall in that case be raised to posts nearest to my person. Moses said to them, throw ye that which ye are about to throw. So they threw their ropes and their rods and said, by the might of Pharaoh, it is we who will certainly win. Then Moses threw his rod, when, behold, it straightway swallows up all the falsehoods which they fake. Then did the sorcerers fall down, prostrate in adoration, saying, we believe in the Lord of the worlds, the Lord of Moses and Aaron. Said Pharaoh, believe ye in him before I give you permission. Surely he is your leader who has taught you sorcery, but soon shall you know. Be sure, I will cut off your hands and your feet on opposite sides, and I will cause you all to die on the cross. They said, no matter, for us we shall but return to our Lord. Only our desire is that our Lord will forgive us our faults, that we may become foremost among the believers. By inspiration we told Moses, travel by night with my servants, for surely ye shall be pursued. Then Pharaoh sent heralds to all the cities, saying, these Israelites are but a small band, and they are raging furiously against us. But we are a multitude amply forewarned, so we expelled them from the gardens, springs, treasures, and every kind of honorable position. Thus it was, but we made the children of Israel inheritors of such things, so they pursued them at sunrise. And when the two bodies saw each other, the people of Moses said, we are sure to be overtaken. Moses said, by no means. My Lord is with me. Soon will he guide me. Then we told Moses by inspiration, I believe the archangels, strike the sea with thy rod. So it divided, and each separate part became like the huge firm mass of a mountain. And we made the other party approach thither. We delivered Moses and all who were with him, but we drowned the others. Verily, in this is a sign, but most of them do not believe. And verily, thy Lord is he, the exalted in might, most merciful to those who are worthy. And rehearsed to them something of Abraham's story. Behold, he said to his father and his people, what worship ye? They said, we worship idols, and we remain constantly in attendance on them. He said, do they listen to you when you call on them? Or do you good or harm? They said, nay, but we found our fathers doing thus what we do. He said, do you then see whom you have been worshiping? In this case, the idols might be the stock market and your bank balance and accumulating material wealth. Ye and your fathers before you, for they are enemies to me. Not so the Lord and cherisher of the worlds, who created me, and it is he who guides me, who gives me food and drink. And when I am ill, it is he who cures me, who will cause me to die and then live again, and who I hope will forgive me my faults on the day of judgment. O Lord, bestow wisdom on me and join me with the righteous. So here there isn't a period, there probably should be, or an exclamation mark. Grant me honorable mention on the tongue of truth among the latest generations. Make me one of the inheritors of the garden of bliss. Forgive my father, for that he is among those astray, and let me not be in disgrace on the day when men will be raised up, the day whereon neither wealth nor sins will avail. You cannot take it with you. If you are not turned up on the vertical, if you are not aware of and attending to the divinity, whatever the form, the Lord, the angels, the Buddhas, the saints, if you're not turned there at your last breath, you're lost, you're gone. You won't be given the grace. And it doesn't have to be at that moment of death. It could be right now. In fact, enlightenment happens in just a moment. The choice to turn toward the divine is simply a choice. You can have that life right now, right here. And there's maybe the majority of the planet, the majority of human beings on earth actually know what this is and live this, love this on a good day, of course. And they will welcome you into the community of civilized society. Join us. Aloha Ke Akua. All of the divine realms, those invisible, those that manifest invisibly within the visible, including us. Aloha Ke Akua. All of the existence, our earth, all the land, every planet in the existence, all the stars, everything. Malama Pono, taking care of making things right. Malama Pono. That is how we get to make peace, real peace, in the Middle East and in the world. Mahalo for joining me today. Join us. Let's make peace on earth. Let's bring the kingdom of heaven to all people and the whole world. It's completely within reach. And that is how we will address our big crises. I introduced the crises of our time in the channel B. And I think I'm actually going to shift over to this channel. Maybe. I might do the GPG version here and then the R version over there, because some of this is adult content, but there needs to be access to these ideas and addressing our time for all people, and children too, because they know anyway. So they need to be along with the adults at an appropriate level. It's important to take what you can digest and process fully. So turn off the boob tube. Stop watching violence that's just gratuitous and unnecessary. Horror movies that doesn't nourish you. And this garbage, this trolling on the internet, that's not nourishing. Go find some good people and hang out and have some beautiful conversations. And it can be about anything. It can be about the slugs in your garden, or a holy book, or world politics. Doesn't matter. Be together with good people. Share communion with them. It doesn't matter. Just people that you feel connection to. And then go inside and look for your own limitations, your own shackles, your own bigotries. We all have it. It's just part of who we are. We're all tribal. Can we be conscious of that? Can we work with that and manifest a bigger heart in us that holds the whole world? As soon as we all do that, then we're all holding the whole world. We're all coming from that place, and we can have grace, peace, love, beauty, and a joyful future for all children now and those ever to come. Mahalo nui loa. Amen.